When most people hear the word minimalism, they picture a stark white room with one chair, a single plant that looks like it was placed there by a professional, and absolutely no evidence that a human being actually lives there. No personality, no warmth, no sign that anyone has ever made a cup of tea or kicked off their shoes after a long day. And then they think, ugh, I could never do that. They are so turned off that they don't do anything at all. And that's the problem with traditional minimalism. It sets a standard so extreme and unattainable and unappealing that most people are scared off before they even start. And in opting out, they stay stuck with homes full of things that drain them, slow them down, and sneakily make every day harder than it needs to be. There is a better way, and it doesn't require white walls, an empty countertop, or getting rid of your grandmother's china. That is if you like her china. Enter my new minimalism, Minimalist Light. On this channel, I talk a lot about the idea that your home should support you and not the other way around. Your stuff should be working for you. And the way that you make sure that it's happening is by only keeping what you actually use and genuinely love. Everything else is just taking up space. Physical space, mental space, and energy space. You do not have to spare. Now, I call this Minimalist Light, and it is a version that actually works for real people with real lives and real hobbies and real kids and sentimental attachments to things that matter to them. Now, traditional minimalism at its most extreme, it looks like a magazine spread that makes you feel vaguely uncomfortable. It reminds you of a nightmare you once had when you can't find your mom. Traditional minimalism, it looks like someone Googled, what if a robot decorated a house, but was sad about it? You find yourself wondering if someone actually lives here or if they just left in the night and took everything with them because they were hiding from their in-laws. Now, it's not warm or comfortable, and for most people, it simply is just not realistic. But here's what I actually believe about minimalism and what I practice in my own home. You have what you use and what you truly love. You remove what gets in your way and slows you down. That's it. That's the whole philosophy. Minimalist Light is minimalism for people who enjoy sitting down comfortably and owning more than one fork. Here's why traditional minimalism fails most people. The all or nothing thinking is what kills it, honestly. People, they hear minimalism and they immediately picture getting rid of everything except for one cup, one plate, maybe a book. Their favorite childhood teddy bear is relegated to donation bins, which might sound peaceful in theory to some, but absolutely miserable in practice because it forgets about real life, which has hobbies. It has kids with toys or kids who leave their things behind after they move out. Real life has the serving dish that you only use at Thanksgiving, but you actually do need it when Thanksgiving arrives. Real life also has the artwork on the wall that makes you happy every time you walk past it. Traditional minimalism doesn't have a good answer for any of that, but Minimalist Light does. The goal was never an empty house. The goal is actually a house that is so cozy and so comfy, but that it doesn't exhaust you. Those are very different targets. And once you understand that, the whole process gets a lot less overwhelming. Step 1, know your comfort level. Now, before you get rid of a single thing, you need to know what you're actually aiming for, because comfortable, it looks different for everyone, and there is no universal right answer here. Some people, they do love the sparse hotel aesthetic. Clean lines, minimal surfaces, everything put away. Walking into a room like that, it feels exhaling for some of them. And if that's you, wonderful, that is your target. It'll be a delight. Other people, they love what I would call the curated museum look. And my grandma's house was just like this, not at all cluttered. Meaningful objects displayed intentionally, artwork on the walls, bookshelves that tell a story, more visual, more layered, but still intentional, still chosen, still serving a purpose. Nothing is wrong, Both are valid. The question is, which one actually feels like home for you, or which one in the middle, not which one looks best on someone else's Instagram. So for me personally, I want a few sentimental pieces around, but not a lot. I want them few and far between, and I want things that I have chosen to display to actually mean something and not just fill the space. When everything is sentimental, nothing is. When you curate carefully, the things that you keep, it carries real weight. There's also a practical angle here that I absolutely love, and it comes from, I think, Dana K. White. The concept of the cleaning threshold. I'm pretty sure she was telling me about this for herself, that basically how much stuff you realistically can manage and keep clean on a daily or weekly basis. I think she said her mom can handle way more than she can, which is basically me. Here's the truth. Every item you own, it requires maintenance. It needs to be dusted, it needs to be moved, cleaned around, put away, or managed in some way. You just don't realize it. If your stuff is living in totes, why do you even have it? The more you have, the more time and energy that maintenance requires. And I know you're like, but it's living in totes, it's not requiring maintenance. No, you're right. But the stuff that's outside of that is requiring maintenance. And sure, you might have a few things in there for, actual emergencies, or for, maybe your high school yearbooks or something like that. But for the most part, keeping stuff in totes is not doing you any favors. Your comfort level is not also about aesthetics, it's about sustainability. So for the stuff that's on the outside, what can you actually keep up with given your real life, your real schedule, your real energy level, and most importantly, relaxing and comfortable to be in. Step 2. Assess your actual hobbies and activities. This is where it gets practical, and also where most people have a bit of a reckoning of the spirit. Every hobby requires stuff, and that's just reality. Heck, even solitaire requires a deck of cards, and the stuff that supports an active hobby is completely justified. It has earned its place in your home every single time you use it. So I say keep it. I talk to people all the time and they're like, well, but I do like this one thing and I do use it, and they feel like they need to get rid of it. No, the stuff that supports a hobby that you used to have, or a hobby that you keep meaning to get back to, or a hobby that you tried once and you just slowly abandoned, now that, my little chickadee, that is a different conversation. For me, I love baking bread. I sometimes don't like to admit this, but I have 2 KitchenAid mixers. One of them I have had for 26 years. And the reason why I have 2 is because one is much larger and allows me to bake bigger or several loaves of bread. I truly use them both multiple times a month, so I'm okay with that. I also love cooking delicious meals, so I have certain things that I use for that, including a pasta roller. I love playing in my garden in a way that absolutely fills my soul, so I have a greenhouse. These are active parts of my life right now, and the equipment that supports them, it stays without question for now. But I also painted this painting that hangs in my office. Now I needed something for that wall, and it works. I like it there. It serves a purpose for now, but I'm not painting at this point in my life, so those painting supplies, those can go. And here's a very important side note worth pondering for a moment or two. And I know so many of you can relate to this because I talk to people all the time in our mighty circle, and also others who say this, but sentimental items from other people, they don't have to be sentimental for you. Just because something was meaningful to someone you loved does not mean you are obligated to keep it forever. I understand that it feels bad, but it's not doing you any good to keep it. I don't want my kids keeping that painting just because I made it. If they want it, okay, they can have it. But if it doesn't work in their home or their life, let it go. Honor the person and not necessarily the object. The love does not go into that china set. Go through your hobbies honestly. What are you actually doing right now? What equipment does that generally require? And What is sitting in a space or a spare room representing a vision of you that may have moved on? Because sometimes craft supplies, they aren't a hobby anymore. They're just the ghost of a hobby. They're haunting you from a very organized set of plastic bins that you bought specifically to contain the guilt. Now let them go. Clear out that space. Step 3, assess what you actually need. This is the question that cuts through the noise. Do you need those dresses from the 90s? I mean, of all decades, why would you choose dresses from the 90s? Anyway, not do you love them, not do you have memories, not could you theoretically wear them some way. Do you need them? Do they fit your life right now? Because here's the thing, a lot of people are like, but these clothes, they don't fit me yet, but one day they might fit me. Here's the thing, they're from the 90s or from the early 2000s or from the 20 teens. Maybe you would not want to wear them anyway. Need is a clarifying word. It bypasses the emotional negotiation that happens when you're standing in front of a closet full of things that you're not even sure about. It asks a simpler question, a more honest question. This actually applies to everything, not just dresses from the 90s. The kitchen gadget that seemed brilliant at the time, but it has lived in the back of the cabinet ever since. Or the books that you've already read and you probably aren't going to read them again. The extra set of sheets for a bed size that you actually don't even own anymore. Or the formal wear for events that you no longer attend. None of these things are bad. And you are definitely not a bad person for having kept them. But if they don't fit your current life right now, they're taking up space with something that better that could occupy that. And if that thing that is occupying it is just empty space, that's great. Empty space is breathing room. It is just relaxation for so many people. And I know a lot of people are like, I hate empty space. That's okay. Just make sure that you can manage that threshold. Step 4. Do you actually use it? This is the final filter, and it is the most honest one. Okay, the treadmill. Let's talk about the treadmill. Is it exercise equipment, or is it a very large, very expensive, and very guilty clothes hanger that also takes up a third of the room and hums judgmentally when you walk past it? This is not about guilt. This is about honesty. We all have things that we bought with the best of intentions, but they never quite became the part of our actual lives. The workout gear for the workout routine that never stuck. The kitchen appliance for the diet phase that passed. The craft supplies for the project that never got started. Keeping these things, it does not make you more likely to use them. It just means you walk past them every day carrying a small amount of guilt about not using them. And that guilt adds up. It becomes a part of a low-grade mental load that makes your home feel heavier than it should. And you know what I say about perfectionism. Perfectionism is from the devil, and you know what? I am going to say from now on, I think guilt is too. If you don't use it, you don't need to keep it. And letting it go, it is not admitting failure. It is just updating your home to match your actual life instead of a life that you thought you'd be living when you bought it. And it's okay. People change. Things don't work out. Some things do. Let it go. The just in case problem. Now, Minimalist Light has one firm boundary, and it's this. Things don't get to stay just because you might, maybe, possibly need them someday. Now, it's completely reasonable to be prepared for emergencies. A basic tool kit. I mean, you will need a screwdriver sometimes. A first aid kit. Believe me, as a former emergency nurse, you need a first aid kit. A reasonable supply of essentials. That is not clutter, it's totally sensible. And hey, I live in an earthquake zone, and I finally got my act together and got prepared for that. But the broken lamp that you're going to fix eventually, the lampshade with no base, the collection of random cords for devices that you no longer own, those are not preparation, they are procrastination with storage. Just in case thinking, it just keeps homes full of things that never get used. They never get dealt with, and they never stop taking up space. Every just in case item is a decision that you did not make. And unmade decisions have a way of accumulating until the whole house feels like one giant unresolved question. Make the decision, let it go. Once you've identified what's leaving, it needs to actually leave. It needs to go. It needs to be like that drunk guest that you have that you are like, okay, you've had enough. You need to go. Get in this taxi. Go home. It does not need to move to a different room. Not go into a maybe pile. It needs to leave. 3 categories make this simple. Donate. Things that are in good condition and could genuinely serve someone else. Sell. Things that are of real value and worth your effort of selling. And then trash/recycling. Things that are broken, worn out, or genuinely not useful anymore. Now, the donate box, it lives somewhere accessible. When it's full, it leaves that week. I want you to go ahead and be like, well, this is full now. And then you go to the calendar and you write down donation, and then you on Saturday or whenever you take it, you put it in the back of your car, and then you take it to the donation place that week, because a donate box that sits in the spare room for 6 months is just clutter with good intentions. Can you imagine if that house guest stayed in your spare room for 6 months? That would be no bueno, right? Your home should be your medicine and not your poison. That is my whole philosophy behind Minimalist Light. Not stark, not sterile, not uncomfortable, just intentional, just honest, just a home full of things that are actually working for you instead of slowly working against you. You keep what you use, you keep what you genuinely love, and you just let go of what is in your way. Get rid of the poison. You give yourself full permission to land somewhere between the empty, stark, dark, scary white room and the house that is slowly filling up with things that you can't quite explain. You're actually ready to start the process, and not just to think about it, but to do it. I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to watch this video right here, which is my mighty method, and that is walks you through exactly how to easily declutter without overwhelm. The link is right here. Go ahead, watch it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope something great happens for you today. Please like, subscribe, give us a hype, stay tidy and mighty, and I'll see you next time. Bye.